Where you at today?
Yellow Springs, Ohio.
Oh, anything going on with your good friend Mr. Dave Chappelle over there?
Yeah, he's got we got well, I live here now, but we're doing those cornfield shows
Oh,
the July the 6th through the 8th.
love that. And then you come into Montreal again.
I know, again, I think I set the record the last time I was there. I think I did 44 shows.
Holy
And
shit.
yeah, it was crazy.
That was in like 2018, I think, right? Or
Yeah,
2017?
right. It was right. Probably like I'm probably 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Probably I think 18 more. Yeah, I think the 18.
Because I remember seeing you at the ethnic show back then, and you came on and doing that whole Old Town Road thing.
Oh yeah.
And I think I saw that show like four times that festival.
Oh yeah.
But it was hilarious every time, and I took all my friends to see it. It's a really big honor for me to be speaking to you today, so I appreciate the time, man.
Oh, thank you for your time.
So tell me a bit about coming back to Montreal. I mean, it is a big trek, and it's a lot of time here. You know, you're here for like 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Nasty Show, that's where you fucking belong. You know what I mean?
I mean, I could probably do a different type of show, but for some reason, I guess because I got high energy and I'm going to say what I want to say. I don't subscribe to cancel culture. With that style of comedy, I think, the Nasty Show is the best. I mean, it's probably the better fit. But I could do all of them. But that's a popular show. People seem to like it. And nasty doesn't necessarily mean that you've been obscene or vulgar. It just basically comedians with more of an edge than like the regular comics.
Yeah, and don't come to a like don't go at the end of the show to the comics and be like that was too nasty or that was too vulgar.
I mean,
Get
you people are gonna find a reason to complain about something. When the title of the show is a nasty show, you got to come with an open mind and understand you're gonna get whatever happens. You
Oh
know?
man, I love that. I love that. And I'm assuming you're coming in with hot new material.
Yep.
And we've been through a lot of shit the last, few years and um I think Montreal loves you. You're not just are you going to be doing any other shows besides the Nasty Show? Like
Oh man, I mean, I guess they could go to the JFL website. I'm on like
yeah.
I think I'm doing probably like 30 shows in different
Oh,
places. I got the nasty show, then I got my own, headlining shows.
yeah.
And then I'll be jumping on with some friends of mine that are there. So it's gonna be like for me to be there for almost 2 weeks, it's gonna be a lot of Donnell Rawlings in Montreal.
Oh man, I love that. I love hearing that shit.
So
Um Tell me a bit about your career has I don't want to go and talk about the Ashley Larry stuff. People know who the hell you are. You know what I mean? I want to talk about The Wire
yo,
and
it's
how,
so interesting because I was doing The Wire. I was I was working on the set of The Wire and working on the Chappelle Show set at the same time.
oh man.
And the irony of that is like Entertainment Weekly did a article some years ago and it named like the top 100 shows in the history of television, and both The Wire and Chappelle Show were on there. So if my legacy doesn't stand for anything, it will stand for someone that was multi-talented, diverse,
Sir.
to go from a comedic sketch show to a critically acclaimed show like The Wire. Not too many people have done that. And if people don't know, if you know the history of The Wire, you know that before The Wire, David Simon did a series called The Corner,
Hmm.
right? And The Corner was about this particular family in Baltimore, and it kind of followed their history with drug addiction issues they had with their family. And so The Wire is pretty much a spinoff of HBO's The Corner that in 1997 won three Emmys.
Wow, I love that. You know what? That's weird that I don't know that. And my friend and I are huge fans of The Wire. And if you don't know what The Wire is, get on it. But Donnell here plays Damian Price, and I mean, it's a brilliant show, and it's one of the shows that marked me the most in my life.
I'll tell you something not too many people know, that the role of Omar on The Wire, it came down to me and Michael.
Oh shit, that's
Robert
that's epic.
Robert Colesbury, one of the executive producers, RIP, passed away some years ago. When they gave me the role of Damian Price, I went on set, right? And he said, the role of Omar came down to you and Mike. He said, but we wanted to save you and do something different with you, with me being Senator Clay Davis' assistant. And another fun fact a lot of people don't know, if you follow The Wire, you know that everything, it was in the towers. The first season, it was in the towers. But what happened was the Baltimore Tourism Board made complaints that every time they produce something in Baltimore, it always depict Baltimore as being the seedy place,
Right.
drug-ridden and everything. So to appease the tourism board, they switched the storyline from the towers to the docks. And that's why my character got lost. Like if you look at it, you have to ask yourself, whatever happened to the money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever happened to the money? And what is this guy's connection? And I know this character was going to blow because he was connected to politics and the hood. You know what I
Oh
mean?
man.
So I was so excited about where it's going to go. But they switched it up, the storyline changed. And David Simon is a really loyal guy to people he worked with. So the
Mhm.
last episode, the last season, he brought my character back just as
Yeah.
a final goodbye.
Oh man, I love that. I love hearing stories like that. So thank you so much for that.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Um, let's go into a bit of how your life has changed the last few years. You're now a dad.
Yeah,
Does your son? It's Austin, right?
yeah.
Does he think you're funny, or does he hate that shit?
No, 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 no. He thinks I'm funny, but he thinks that he's funnier than I am.
Mm,
But he never. I'm gonna tell you when he really kind of respected what I do. Like I've done a lot of stuff, Chappelle Show, The Wire,
yeah.
and everything. He didn't care about none of that. But when I played Dez the Barber
Oh man.
in Pixar's Soul,
Yeah.
that's where his dad became a superstar to him. Other stuff, he's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they want an Emmy, whatever. But the fact that I was in Soul, and the fact that some of his favorite characters were on fashion on the Happy Meal boxes, he was in.
Oh man.
He was in classroom heaven because of that.
I love that. And yeah. So look at this: HBO, Comedy Central, fucking Disney, Pixar. Like it's wild, man. To be part of this
Uh,
about the
and and Spider-Man 2 some years ago.
true.
That's another time. That's another time that I got respect in the kids' streets. They
That's
don't care
true.
nothing. They don't care about no dramatic stuff. They want to see you in an animation or something to do with Marvel or any of those
Yeah.
guys. That's when the kids respect you.
Tell me a bit about I've seen you quite a few times, like I mentioned at the top of the show. Your writing process when you write comedy, are you more of a freestyler or do you
I,
like to have something set?
no, I do like I want to know where I'm going,
Yeah.
but at the same time, sometimes I don't know how I'm going to get there. I did some shows over the weekend, and I was working on this set, and it was dope. And I said, wait a minute, let me just go wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No format or anything, and trust the fact that I could be funny off the cuff. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm not going to do what I normally do. I was like, just go up there, get to know the audience, talk to them, and then see what happens. And then when I did that, it was one of the better shows that I had. But I always have a blueprint, but then things can be at the last minute, impromptu, or anything can happen. In my comedy, I don't like write jokes down. I'll make write
Hmm.
a premise, put a bullet point,
Yeah.
and me get my stuff tight is just reps. The more I do it, I add more things to it, and it constantly grows.
I love that. Amazing. Do you ever go to Chappelle and be like, dude, that doesn't work. That joke doesn't work?
No, I never do that because he's a pro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like certain people, you got to realize some people just throw out garbage, but people like Chappelle, people like Rock, people, and
Yeah.
I'm putting myself up there with them because I work with them and we share the same similarities when it comes to how we put stuff together.
Mm.
Usually, people like that, when we think something is funny, it's going to be funny because everything doesn't make it to the point where I could do that on stage. We have some funny ideas about something like, I don't know about that. But normally, guys like that, when you be like, oh my God, this would be good, you've already went through the filter, the process, and all I got to do is work it out and it's going to be fire.
Amazing. We like to do this little thing on this show called rapid fire questions. Are you good with that?
Yeah, let's go. And if somebody say, is there any question I can't ask you? You can ask me any question. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna answer it. So let's go.
Let's do it. A movie you think everyone should see.
Five heartbeats. The five
Dude, Robert
heartbeats.
Townsend.
Oh my God. And the reason why I say that is especially for anybody that wants to be in entertainment or understands what it takes in the trials and tribulations, how it affects your family, your friendship, and everything. It's one of my favorite movies. It might not appeal to a lot of people, but I thought that show was like that movie was very underrated. They focused more on the clothes. It was like in that era opposed to the story. But it was any movie, I think, especially for people in entertainment, Five Heartbeats.
Amazing choice. Like I said, I love that movie. It's actually like I have a huge collection. It's literally right here next to me.
Oh, that's so dope,
Uh,
man.
your favorite thing about Montreal, from what you
Just
remember?
the favorite thing, just how friendly people were,
Hmm.
how it kind of sort of reminds me of like a very diverse community.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like it just open and free and just felt very, very, very comfortable and fun. That's the thing that I remember most about Montreal. The people that lived there from all walks of life, all ethnicities. It's a nice melting pot of people with good vibes and good energy.
Amazing. Um, do you have some sort of dinner that you'd like to plan? You have four comics to choose from, living or dead. Who have you got at this dinner?
The dinner I would probably have Robin Harris
Mm,
because Robin Harris, like if I say my style is kind of similar to anybody, it would be his because his was off the cuff. It was storytelling, it was stock jokes, it was crowd works, it was everything. It just felt natural. Robin Harris reminded me of the guy at the barbecue. Like everybody in your family, everybody knows a certain story, but there's only one person you want to hear tell the story. I think that would be person that I would want to have at that dinner. I would probably want to have George Carlin at that dinner
of course.
just to get some diversity on there and just to be with somebody that don't give a shit is going to say what they want to say. Probably Dave Chappelle at that dinner,
Hmm.
and that would probably be just more of a thank you for not, a lot of people say if it wasn't for Dave, but I believe that my career had the potential to do well, but I have to admit that the platform that he created gave a lot of people opportunity to see how funny, how you know, how truly funny I was. And let me see, on the another, and just to make it so I don't want anybody to be upset, I would probably invite Marsha Warfield to
Hmm.
that dinner because Marsha Warfield was like in the business of entertainment. She broke down so many barriers. She was a pioneer. And to this day, I don't think people really give her the credits and the roses that she deserved.
Amen to that. You mentioned Robin Harris earlier. As a kid, I was obsessed with Bebe's Kids.
Everybody was.
I don't know why though, but as a kid also, it was super hard to find and it was like out of print. So I recently, not recently, maybe in the last 10 years, found it on DVD and I was like, I gotta own this. You know what I mean?
Right. And another thing, I'll tell you another fun fact a lot of people don't know. When Def Jam broke, and Def
Hmm.
Jam was a platform for a lot of black comics or just comics to be seen because there wasn't too many outlets other than like Letterman, Carson, that
Hmm.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
And Robin Harris was slated to be the host of
Oh.
Comedy Jam. But in his like unpredicted passing,
Hmm.
they had to find another host and open up the door for Martin Lawrence to do it. And a lot of
Right.
people don't know that Martin wasn't the first choice for that show, was Robin Harris. But
Wow.
then when he passed away, it gave Martin the opportunity for people to see what he does.
Yeah. Dude, you got so much knowledge and like I love these like little tidbits of
Yeah,
information.
I've been around 30 years. You
Yeah.
get some stories.
Are you more of a pizza or pasta guy? I'm Italian, so I gotta ask this question.
Pizza. I'm a pizza guy.
That's my
Yeah,
man.
it's all about the sauce.
Yeah, it is all about the sauce. Where's
Yeah.
one of the best pizzas you've ever had? Was in do you
One of the
remember?
best meals, I can't even remember. It was at this restaurant in Australia. It just recently, it
Oh,
was this guy that was like what like a like he won probably one of the most prestigious awards that you could win when it comes to making pizza. It's really um I can't think of it right now, but it was in Australia.
really
Can't
interesting.
think of it right now, but it was a really, really good pizza. Like
Amazing.
award-winning pizza.
Our signature question here on the show is a deep one. but it's a good one. What song would you have played at your funeral?
Um, I would probably have played Nina Simone "Feeling Good."
Oh, beautiful. Like we just leave it right there.
You
Uh,
good?
Donnell, thank you so much. You're at the Nasty Show from July 18th to the 25th in Montreal at Club Soda. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully, we'll meet up in person. I'd love that and just shake your hand. Thank you so much for everything you've done in your career.
I good, and I know that we didn't really do a lot of Chappelle talk, and I really appreciate
Yeah,
that. But there's no way I can end an interview without saying, "I'm rich, bitch."
you're a gem, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in Montreal. All right.
All right, thank you for your time, brother.
Be good.
All right, amen.
Bye. Gianmarco,
Yes.
I'm Gianni. Nice to meet you virtually.
Hello. Very good to meet you.
It's
Oh my
nice to
God. Is that Gianni? Is that a shortening or is that the full name?
So I was born Giovanni after my grandfather, and they all called him Gianni. So they called me Gianni, which I much prefer because when I started doing this for just for laughs and stuff, they were like, "Oh, Giovanni's like an 80-year-old man," and then I would show up. They're like, "It's
I
not
remember
true."
Giovanni was a Pokemon boss. They had like a mafioso esque Pokemon boss in the video game, and
Why
it
do
was
I
like Giovanni.
really? Eh? Okay, on the game, not the series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was in the series or not, but
Okay.
I'm sure. I just remember. So yeah, I my dad calls me Gianni. Sometimes he does it very like not Italian at all. He goes like Gianni.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it.
But yeah, yeah.
It's great to talk to you today. We have a mutual friend, Vince from Inside Jokes, the Toronto radio show. I think
I
you,
saw him on Tuesday. Yeah.
yeah. So it's good to. I've heard such great things about you. I'm excited to see you in Montreal, uh, just for the culture show. You're here for like 17,000 days, but
Yeah. I'm excited. Listen, I go places 3 days, 4 days. You can't get settled. It's hard. So I'm really excited for this trip.
is this your first festival? Like just for laughs?
No, I did New Faces last year.
Let's talk about that.
And
That's exactly why I. Okay, so you did New Faces last year. Walk us through that entire procedure because I know it's nerve-wracking as hell.
yeah, it's a stressful show. I was last on the second show, which like sometimes you want to go last, sometimes the audience is tired by then on
Right.
the showcase show. But basically, Pete Holmes, who hosted it, he was very like super gracious, and he came back. He knew we were all anxious and like really had a good pep talk.
Mm.
And but what's funny is he said to the second show, like to the side, he was like, guys, the second show is always better. The audience is a little drunker. You're gonna have a great time. And so we felt good. And the first show goes, and I mean the audience was astounding for the first show. And then the second show starts. Pete goes up, he opens, and then comes back, and he's like, "Whew, they are tired. They are tired." And he was right. It was just a lot of audience that went to the first show,
Yeah.
and now they were tired.
Yeah.
And
But it's not something you want to hear.
no, and he wasn't doing it to scare us.
Yeah.
He was just like, part of it you want to tell the comedian like, don't think it was you.
Right.
The audience was tired. So that's the only reason he brought it up. But I think in my mind, in my anxiety, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Well, they're tired. What the fuck? I'm in JFL, and I think something about that helped me be loose and have like kind of I don't give a fuck energy in the good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like one of the best sets of my life.
Oh God, that's awesome. I love to hear that. That wasn't the time where the venue caught on fire, right?
No, so it was very nice. Pete Holmes asked me to do his show that Friday, and I went to the green room of his show, and I was so excited. This is my first time meeting Pete, and then all these Canadians run in. They go, "There was a fire at the other theater. We're going to do the show here instead of Pete Holmes' show," and I had to be very like, "All good, no worries. I was just so excited. Bye, have a great show, everyone." And then I think Pete ended up hosting their show. But yeah, that's how the fire affected me personally.
Because I was at the Jimmy Carr had a show that night, the late show at that venue that you performed at, and he had said it was like Jimmy Carr and friends or whatever, and he's like, oh, we're having some comics from New Faces come on the show because the fucking venue caught on fire. So he's like, let's do this. And I don't remember seeing you, but I could have also been drunk. So that was also an issue.
Sure, sure.
But I'm glad everything's turning around, and not turning around, but it's been a pretty wild year, right? I mean, you're coming to the festival and you're doing one of the staple shows that's been here forever. And it's actually one of the shows that I see often throughout the festival, and I love seeing it more than once because we usually see you, let's say, on the media premiere, and then we'll see you later on, and it's just so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have time to change things, and is that difficult for you, or do you enjoy, like, do you like to improvise a lot, or is it more set?
It is more set, but like I like to definitely explore the material and always fine tune. I think jokes are like never done.
Yeah.
And it can be torturous because you're constantly adjusting, and you make one adjustment, you think it's right, and then you realize the next day, oh my God, I think I made the joke worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I get antsy, so I do like to mix it up. And I think when you're at a big festival, there is this real conflict where you're like, I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
But after 3 times doing the same set, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I need to incorporate things. I need to talk about, the crazy whitewater rafting I did on the Sheen River or whatever today. I got to talk about it. And I think that makes it fun and exciting, and I think hopefully feel more alive and present.
And I mean, you're not only doing that Just for the Culture show, you got your solo show that was just announced earlier this week. You got your podcast coming here, which is always fun to see podcasts. If whoever's listening, the 4 people that are listening, if you go to the podcast, it's always the best because you can get all kinds of guests, and like everyone's there. Everybody is there. Like
everybody's there. Everybody's there.
So it must be exciting for you that the festival just was like, hey, dude, take all these opportunities, do the show, do your solo show. Are you excited about the solo show? I think you're doing it at Cafe Cleopatra, if I'm not.
I'm doing Cafe. It's one at Cafe Cleopatra and then one at a different place. I mean, it's going to be my headlining set. So I'm gonna have a comic do a little time up top and then come out there, and I think like with that time, I can just go into darker territory. I can talk about I think what's nice about a longer set is that I get to gain your trust. Right. And as you'll know, with any relationship, once you have each other's trust, that's when you can talk about some really fucked up shit that really tickles you. And so, if they see a little of me at Just for Culture and want to see more, those shows are going to be really great. I mean, I cannot wait.
That's always the best. And do you come from a big family? I know I know you're Italian and Jewish. You grew up in Maryland, right?
I grew up in Maryland, Potomac, Maryland. I have a big family, but they're all pretty fucked up. So they are all spread out and not particularly communicative.
Oh, we love those.
Yeah. We're not going to all the funerals, if you know what I mean. Like
Gotcha.
It is. That's how you know.
Gotcha.
That's how you know.
But
yeah,
go ahead.
No, you kept the grudge going to the very end, is what I was saying. Yeah.
But growing up, were you surrounded by a lot of siblings? Like, were you always like? I know this is like a cliche question, but like, were you? I'm curious to know because were you the funny kid, or?
I think what it was is my dad had anger stuff, and my stepdad was very strict. Okay. So I was constantly in environments where there was a lot of tension. There was a lot of what's going to set my dad off. What's going to make my stepdad like tell us to do some random chore because kids should be working? And I don't know if I was that funny or that like I brought laughter to them then, but I think when you feel that tension, you seek relief from it. You seek something to free you from that anxiety. Yeah. So I think in that time I liked comedy, and I had like thoughts of like what about the situation was so insane, and I was too scared to say it until I got older, and that's when I started, I think, breaking those moments of tension. at that Thanksgiving dinner table where no one's getting along, say the thing that actually makes someone laugh. And I think that was my progression of how that turned me into enjoying comedy.
The first time you performed, did you bomb or did you do really well? Be honest.
I think what happens with a lot of comedians is the first time we do stand up, it's like a bringer show.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a class. Everyone brought their friends and family. So the audience was white hot and huge.
Yeah.
So the first time I performed, I crushed. But then I'm a stand-up comedian. And then I would do a regular show where no one was there for me, and I would bomb. And before you do enough shows, part of you is like, wait a second. If these jokes crushed over here, then clearly this audience, they weren't good. You can't help but blame the audience until you have enough of a sample size.
Right.
Because now I have enough of a sample size. There's shows where I do fine, where I can't go, I have to at least take into consideration what was the environment I was in, or else I'm going to get rid of a good set because the audience sucked. So, but you can't fully blame. You got to take the whole picture in. And that takes so much time. I did a show last night. It was at a JCC, a Jewish Community Center.
Okay.
All sorts of ages. Old, young. And before the show, they said that there was a group coming, and it was a group of mentally disabled people, and they were going to be in this part of the audience, and not to be thrown off if a group wasn't laughing in a way that I would expect.
Right.
And that's it's great. But I'm saying the circumstances of that show are vastly different than when I'm going to be at a JFL set. And there's all sorts there was one guy who was a part of that group where his laugh was to go, oh. And so it's that's a factor. Then at one point I talked about a friend of mine who's gay, and someone in that same audience went, ew. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm not going to chastise him. No. This is advanced stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
That's what it is being a real working comic. It's not just you're doing shows that are white hot and the audience loves you and they're fans. It's doing shows where the circumstances are wild. And you have to navigate putting on the best show you can in those circumstances.
My friend's gay. Ew. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, if it was a regular audience member, forgive me, just take that out. Please don't say I said regular. If it was an audience member who wasn't mentally disabled, I might try to banter back and forth, but I'm not going to do it here.
Yeah. No.
And it's so, I've learned. I did a show when Brittany Griner got released from the Russian prisons. Mm-hmm. I had a joke about it, and it was a dark joke, but it wasn't. Basically, I said Brittany Griner was released from a Russian prison, and I was in South Carolina, and an audience member went, boo. And I made the comedian mistake where I tried to chastise him.
Right.
I said, I think it's good when Americans are released from foreign prisons. And not funny at all. And the audience was just the joy had been sucked out of the room. Yeah. It's not my job when I'm on stage to steer everyone in the right direction. Yeah. I'm here to bring joy and make people laugh. And all that is to say, first show went well, second show went badly, and the whole journey of being a comedian is understanding when you could have done better and when you did the best given the circumstances.
Oh yeah, that's a great mentality, man. And going back to when you were growing up, do you remember that moment that marked you where either you saw a comedy special or you were watching TV or something and you're like, oh fuck, I really want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I ever saw myself as doing it. It did feel like, I think about how stupidly simplistic the education system is, where you kind of, you are an athlete or a theater kid, and there's other subdivisions, but stand-up certainly is not, it's not like every school is a stand-up group.
Right.
Or so it didn't seem possible to me. In high school, I saw myself as doing theater because that's what was available to me. Who knows if there had been a stand-up group or class, or instead of acting, you could do stand-up, I would have realized it sooner. But I think I always knew that I liked making people laugh, and I liked doing comedy. And it took me until I was fucking 27 to really go like, oh, this is what I like the most. This is what I was kind of made for.
Is your favorite part about it? Is it the process up to the point where you go on stage, or do you thrive on being okay? I really got to perfect this set, and then you go on stage and you fucking kill. Like, what part of it is your favorite? You know what I mean?
I mean, I think my favorite is the best moment is when a new joke or a joke you've been working on that you feel like that was it.
That was it.
That was it. And what's weird about it is like, when people see you kill at a big thing, they go, to them, that's when you're supposed to be happiest.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you're supposed to be like, oh my God. And it's like truly the moments that really do mean the most are when I made something new and I know in a moment I found it. I cracked it open. And those moments can happen honestly, those moments don't always happen at the big showcase show because you're just doing your best. It can happen at some garbage show, some random thing. And those are the moments where I feel like, oh, I created today. And I was creating before, but sometimes you don't really feel it until it works.
Love that. I love your energy, dude. I feel like I'm just like I'm entranced.
Oh, thank you.
By your
I appreciate it.
The way you're speaking. We do this small thing. We don't have much time left. We do this small thing on the show where we do rapid fire questions. Let's fucking do this. On the road, your go-to room service order.
It's crazy healthy. First of all, I wish I could afford room service all the time.
Right.
But I'm starting with a breakfast. If I'm going to get room service, it's a big old pot of coffee. I don't care if it's $28 for this stupid pot of coffee. Pot of coffee, omelet with veggies, some bread and fruit. Start the day feeling good.
Are you a bit of a health guy? Is that it? Are you more of on the? Yeah.
I try, and I think like I'm glad I am because if you're okay with eating wings occasionally, you're gonna eat wings every weekend because that's all the comedy club has. Yeah. If you make it a rule like I'm not eating wings, let alone bad ones, I'm gonna get sushi from DoorDash. It's going to cost too much, but I will feel better about this weekend.
That's my relationship with pizza. So, it's my go-to. Something people would be surprised that you travel with in your suitcase.
Ooh, I do have a fidget spinner.
Oh, okay.
For I think when I get when that flight starts to feel a little bumpy. Mm-hmm. It's a nice distraction. It's a place to put my anxiety, and it's a cool fidget spinner. It also has like pop things, like little bubbly things you can pop back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
love those. Yeah. A guilty pleasure.
Oh my God, a guilty pleasure. I mean, I don't know if it's guilty. My thing these days, if I go on the road, I like to my second or third day there. Take an edible early in the morning and walk around and do all my things that day stoned because that's when I think of ideas. And so I like to I will definitely go around Montreal during the day little stoned so I can find the funny in what's around me.
So if we see you in the morning walking around, don't talk to Gianmarco at all. Just keep going.
I mean, talk to me, but don't quote me.
Yeah. That's actually a great idea. I don't know why I've never thought about that. Just waking up, wake and bake situation, and you just walk out like, you know what? This is the day, you know?
Yeah.
I love that. A movie or a band, or both, that you think are overrated.
Oh my God. You know what's tough? I mean, I don't want to get in trouble here. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of, there's some artists. Oh my God. I mean, I could say so many. Let's see. I want to say, oh my God, it's so funny. People get in trouble these days for bad mouthing an artist. If we were talking a comedian off the record, I could list 1,000. But let's see. I think Drake. I can't stand when it doesn't feel like the lyrics matter. Yeah, and maybe it's because I grew up in a different age of rap and I'm just an old fogey. but I liked when you like heard there was a narrative and there was a
And you heard the
story.
pain.
You heard the pain.
Yeah.
There was emotion. Like so much of like Drake. It's just like everything's good. I'm chill, and I'm like, don't be chill. How can you be chill? How could you be chill? Read the newspaper.
Yeah. Fucking Drake. I got two more for you. We mentioned pizza earlier. Are you more of a pizza or a pasta guy?
Pizza.
Yeah, baby.
Pizza. Yeah.
That's fair. Our signature question here on the show, it's a dark one, but it's a fun one. What song would you have played at your funeral?
Ooh, there are some. My music is pretty eclectic. Like it's a lot of musical theater from like the '60s to the early 2000s. But Modest Mouse has a song that is like Ocean Breathe Salty. And it's really, I mean, it's a real like, did you say when I'm dying or at my funeral?
At your funeral.
At my funeral. Like Ocean Breeze Salty is definitely like a feel bad. He's dead. So that's my heavy one. And if people would roll their eyes and be like, oh, Modest Mouse.
Gianmarco's at it again.
Oh my God.
This is the part of the show where you can obviously you're going to be at the Just for the Culture show from the 18th of July till the 26th. You got all your solo shows, you got your podcast. Is there anything else you want to plug right now?
Just find me on social media. I mean, that's where a lot of good jokes, crowd work, podcast clips, and all my dates now and in the future. And come to JFL. It's going to be comedians. There's a point where they are bigger than the event, and you're not going to see them at their best. I am still below the event, which means I'm going to be bringing it hard.
You're gonna fucking bring it. Love it.
So see me now, because in 5 years I'll be at JFL. I'll be reading from notes.
Yeah, you'll be playing you'll be playing the arenas and shit. Yeah. So like.
Yeah, but now this is the time to see me.
Yeah. Gianmarco, this has been such a pleasure, and I look forward to meeting you in person at the premiere of the show, and we can maybe grab a slice of pizza or maybe take an edible, whatever it is.
Sounds good.